Hi, my name is Chris Ryan. Welcome to the Forest of Arden. Today's video is all around ball striking, some simple drills that you can do during practice, as well as taking a look at these new practice aids on the market from Fatplate. So you're a golfer who's looking to reduce your scores, maybe reduce your handicap and just get better at the game. Now there's a very good chance that improving your ball striking will go some way to doing just that. I would not say there is one golfer that I've seen who couldn't improve on the way that they actually strike the golf ball. If we can improve that aspect of our game, we're going to find that the game is more enjoyable because the contact is going to feel more solid. We're going to get better distance. We're going to be more around the green. So hitting the ball more solidly and more at the middle of the club is definitely something that many golfers need to focus on. And that's what we're going to sort of discuss in this video. So let's just, before we start, just go through what are these two practice aids that I've got in my hands. Now, I'm going to start off by saying this is not a paid advertisement whatsoever. I actually know the guy Arden who has invented these, who's come to market with these. He's a good friend of mine, so I wanted to help him out. I wanted to use them in my coaching because I really believe in the product, and I wanted to just let you guys know about these training aids. Effectively, these are Perspex boards. There are actually four that I've got here. We've got this one, which is called the Fatplate Light, this one, which is the Fatplate, there's a Fatplate Shank and a Fatplate Sand, all really designed to just improve the ball striking in different areas of the game. So obviously the Sand one is for the bunkers, the Shank one is really to focus on the actual ball striking between heel and toe, and these two are more to do with the angle of attack. This one here with the AstroTurf in can be used from very different situations. So let's say you've got a practice net in your back garden, you haven't got a hitting surface, you can use this. And the one that's got the cutout bit at the front here, this can be used from driving range mats or even just from turf as we're doing here. So we're going to come back to those in a minute and explain how you use them. But we're going to go through, first of all, just a little drill that's going to help you with your ball strike. And this one can be done at your practice area, it can be done at your driving range, you can even do it in your back garden without a golf ball, just to realise and understand what those movements are. So I call this one Impact Fix. The idea really is that we're going to get you to start your golf swing from a position which would closely resemble where we'd like to be at impact. It's going to do a couple of things for you. It's going to really start to get you and your body to recognise where impact is, which for many golfers is nowhere near where they believe it will be. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to give you some awareness of actually where impact's going to be. What we're then going to do is from that position, we're going to hit some really short shots, trying to do a couple of things with the contact and with the ball flight. And if we can do that, it's then going to give you some further ideas on what it's going to actually feel like to make contact with the ball from this more desirable impact position. We should start to see some different ball flights, we should start to create some different feels down at impact. We're then going to introduce the fat plates and show you how they can actually help you, sort of monitor this actually and get some positive or negative feedback. So I'm going to take my setup to this golf ball. I've got myself a 6-iron here, and this would be my pretty standard starting position for this golf club. Now, when I make contact with the ball, when we hit the ball from the ground, and that's going to be sort of 90% of the shots you hit, obviously bar the tee shots, we have to make contact with the golf club descending towards the ground. That's a negative angle of attack, which is why you're going to see the best golfers at your golf club and maybe on TV taking divots after the golf ball. Now to do that, the impact is absolutely key. And I did a video about 2 to 3 weeks ago about how to correctly strike your irons. That's a great video to look at if you haven't already seen that one. I will try and link it down in the description below. But effectively, there's a couple of things that need to happen. We need to have more pressure or more weight on your lead side as you make contact with the ball. We need to have some amount of rotation in the body towards the target. So you can see I'm turning my hips and I'm rotating my belt buckle more towards the target. I would also then need the handle to be more forwards relative to the club head and the ball. So if I take my starting position and just create those 3 movements, so pressure forward, body open, handle forwards, this would now closely resemble where I would like to be at impact. If I'm in this position, I'm now able to do the things that I want to do. I'm able to compress the golf ball more onto the club face simply because I'm presenting a lower loft. I'm able, if I want, to create a more downward attack angle where I would hit the ball, then the ground. That's going to help me from all different types of lies, whether I'm in the semi-rough or the thick rough. And it's going to help us produce that strike that we all want, that really nice feeling, that compress when we see that ball take off, and that really nice flight, that really penetrating flight. and it's going to give us the most distance. So very simply, what we can do is actually create that starting position and then just go ahead and make a few little swings from here, trying to hit the ball from there. Now, the key thing here would be, notice how when I've gone through, I've continued to rotate my body, I've continued to extend my arms, and I have yet to rehinge those wrists. And how we go through the ball is actually really key in order to maintaining some of these good positions. It's all well and good starting from here, but I'll still see golfers kind of excessively using the wrist this way, not using the body. So we're going to create this little starting position, and we're then going to go ahead and feel like we make some little swings, hitting the golf ball and holding our finished position. That's going to be the drill. I'm going to go ahead and hit one, and then, as I say, we're going to use the fat plates to go through how you can actually get some feedback during your practice. So, starting position, that feels fairly normal. I'm going to find my impact, and I'm going to hit this ball 20-30 yards max, not particularly far and not particularly high. Okay, so you can see that ball fly excessively low. There's my extended follow-through position where I've rotated my body, I've extended up through my spine, I got some good extension between my arms and my body, I've struck the ground after the ball. Those are all the feedback keys I need to tell me that I delivered that golf club in the correct fashion. Try that drill. We're now going to use the fat plates to give you some feedback and explain exactly how you can use these during your practice. So I've still got my golf ball positioned on the ground, but this time I've set the fat plate around the golf ball. And you can see here from that close-up that there are a couple of different markings on this fat plate, and that's really going to help me just position the golf ball correctly relative to that plastic device around my golf ball. Really important that we do this, because if the golf ball is positioned incorrectly, the feedback that you get is also going to be incorrect. Now, you can see that I've got my golf ball equidistant from each side here, and because I've got my 6 iron, which is a mid iron, I'm going to have it between numbers 2 and numbers 3, because that says mid irons. My short irons are going to be much closer to the back, so around about here, and my long irons are going to be much more forward I should say, towards number 1. Now you can move the ball around within those little zones, and it would depend a little bit on the golfer and a little bit on the speed that you generate when you hit the golf ball. Very, very simply, we're looking here at the angle of attack that the club has into the golf ball. We can have 3 angle of attacks. We can have a golf club which is traveling downwards, which we class as negative. We can have a golf club which is traveling level with the ground, which we class as 0. And we can have a golf club which is raising or rising up through impact. We class that as a positive angle of attack. Now, a positive angle of attack would really only be useful for a shot where we're hitting the ball from a tee peg, primarily the driver. For, as I said a moment ago, for all the shots that we hit from the ground, we would like that attack angle to be negative. Now, very, very simply, when I place my golf ball here, if I strike my golf ball with a negative angle of attack, I should find that I can deliver the club to the ball without making contact with the fat plate. If I do make contact with the fat plate, I'm going to hear this noise. Because the way it's made, it's going to give us an audible tone when we make contact. If I strike a ball now and I hear that fat plate, that tells me that my attack angle was probably too shallow. I was a little bit too close to 0. I may even have been a slight positive. So we're going to start off, we're going to do that exact same drill that I just did a moment ago, but we're going to use it with a fat plate. We're going to see if I can strike this golf ball without hearing the noise. Set up, find impact, little swing. Okay, and again, ball flight was really, really low. I didn't hear the fat plate. That gives me some really good feedback that my attack angle was pretty much as I wanted. Now, I'm just going to do a different one here. I'm going to take the same setup, place the ball between numbers 2 and 3 for my mid iron, but I'm going to sort of try and demonstrate what some of you might find happens. So even though we set our impact, okay, now hopefully you can hear that noise there. Hopefully it picked up on the microphone. I made contact with the fat plate too far back here. Now you'll see there from the slow motion exactly why I did that, because I really didn't pivot correctly through the golf ball. My wrists therefore I had to use them too early. My left wrist extended like this through impact. That caused a couple of things. It caused my low point to be too far back. It then caused me to make contact with the fat plate, and my ball flight was much higher than I would want on that drill. So without the kind of, addition of a TrackMan or anything like that, I can get the feedback that I need about my ball striking from this fat plate. What you can obviously ultimately do is hit full shots. Nothing to stop you making golf swings with this fat plate here to see if we can make contact without hitting the board behind. And because there's a little bit more speed there, we see a slightly bigger divot. But again, we can see just where that divot was. I didn't hit the fat plate behind. I've struck the ball, I've taken some turf. And because that fat plate hasn't moved, I can really start to see exactly where my ball was, where my divot started, and all that information, which is going to be really key to me if I'm working on my ball striking. So, what is the other fat plate? Well, the other fat plate is very simply the same design, but this has got some turf in it. So this is the same sort of turf that you might expect to see at the driving range if you go to a driving range where there are mats. Now, this is fantastic for those golfers who, maybe like to practice at home. Maybe you've got a net in the garden, but maybe you haven't got a huge mat that you can hit from. You can drop this onto any surface, whether it's slabs, whether it's concrete, or even as we have done here, which is turf. And again, we're going to get the same idea. If I can make contact with the golf ball with my descending attack, I'm going to make contact with the golf ball this way. If I have that shallow approach, again, you can hear that different noise because I'm making contact with the fat plate behind. Now, the reason I like these drills, or these practice aids, is because for me, if you're trying to change your golf swing, whether that be backswing, downswing, impact, whatever it may be, the key thing that you have to have in your practice is feedback. If you don't have feedback, it's really difficult to tell whether you're making the new moves that you're trying to make or whether you're just falling into your old habits. These devices are going to give you that feedback. It's absolutely invaluable whilst you're practicing to know, have you done what you're trying to do? If you haven't, if you're making golf swings and you're still making contact with this plastic thing behind, you have to make some decisions. Are you going to maybe start to slow down a little bit? Are you going to go to a shorter club? You have to make some changes until you can achieve the desired goal that you're trying to work towards. You can then build the speed back up. So for me, these devices are absolutely key to offer you the feedback that you're going to need whilst you're practicing. Now, as I said at the start, there are 4 different ones. There's a sand, which is the same idea as this, that works in the bunkers. And there's also a shank, which is one where you can actually place some T-pegs into the board, and that's going to give you some real good feedback as to whether you're hitting more towards the toe or the heel. So with these fat plates, I can look at my angle of approach. I can also look at where I'm hitting between heel and toe. So I can really start to hone in on the center of that golf club and really start to deliver that golf club to the ball in a more efficient manner. As I said at the start, if you're looking to improve your scores, and I'm guessing you are because you're watching this video, striking the ball better is a huge factor in doing that. It's going to give you more consistency in the ball flight. The distance is going to be more predictable. You're going to be up and around the green more often. It's a great way to lower your scores, is just to focus very much on striking the ball from the middle of the golf club. So as I said, this is not an advertisement. I'm not being paid to talk to you about this. It's just a product that I like. I use it in my coaching. And as I've done over the past few months, I'm trying to bring you some of the things that I use during my coaching because I think they can help you improve your game. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully that video has helped. You've got a drill that you can use. You've got some products that you might want to look into. I'll link the website down below if you do want to go and take a look and you maybe want to buy 1, 2, 3, or even maybe want to buy a whole set of these. I definitely think they're going to help you with your ball striking. Thanks for watching. Usual stuff is down below. There's a comments box, there's a like button. There's also a link to subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. I would urge you to do so. The videos are free, hopefully just helping you play some golf in the future. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.